low battery? Possible.
Wow. Woohoo. I made it.
Indeed.
Oh, I can hear myself. Yes, we are, Yusuf. Yes, yes, yes. Am I ever a little low on the live
Not that I've
stream?
noticed. Not
Okay,
that
good.
I've noticed.
Cool.
But the stuff that I listen to you on is, usually correcting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, no, I totally boost myself. I think I hit like -12. Is it negative or minus when you're talking about decibels?
Negative. I don't know. I call it negative. But, both work for me. It's both completely understandable.
True, true. Let me pop this out so I can see it. And I'll do...
God damn it.
There. And... oh, yeah, pop that out too. Sweet. I wish you could reorder people in... Yusuf says negative with dB. All right. Well, -12 is usually where I'll peak. And that's a fine thing, I guess, right? So, I did see where on this website, right? What do you think about the website, Joe?
Looks like a website to me.
Well, yeah, but compared to what we got?
Looks
Hey,
nice.
Londoner.
Ours looks a little archaic, I'll admit, but
wait, hold
do
on.
we really need anything more?
Which one? The original one? LinuxMint.com?
No, ours. Mintcast.
It looks archaic. This is modern.
Modern archaic.
I don't know what that means. I mean, it's, I don't know.
It's
Looks
retro.
fine.
Well, it's simple.
This is retro?
No, it's simple.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Which
all
is
it
what
is
we
is...
need.
yeah, it's an archive for our episodes. Oh, by the way, I totally just did this without saying anything. What do you think about this?
That's fine.
So, as opposed to this. That versus that. Because, and so here was my thinking. There's a literal logo with the name on it right there.
Well, generally, you're encouraged to restate your name as many times as possible.
Oh, man.
That way it
now
sticks
we're
in
getting
people's
into...
heads.
yeah, we're getting into advertising theory and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have avoided advertisers for a long time.
Yeah. I haven't needed them.
Yep. Huh. Well, Yusuf, Londoner, do you care? What do you think? With or without the Mintcast? I am curious. I haven't heard anything. We haven't got any feedback to the effect because I think most people don't care.
6 people watching now.
It shows I think it shows cleaner in podcast apps like Apple whatever and what's that? Antenna I was about to call it Antenna Pop. Antenna Pod.
Antennapod.
Those are fine. Yusuf says with. Any reason why? I just like making waves mostly. Because the title is always there. So like when you click on our podcast, it says Mintcast. And then under episodes, it says 366 Proctor Mox. Is it the same kind of reasoning Joe's got with the make sure you say Mintcast about 12 times before anybody gets to press play?
60 or 70 times.
At least.
Never stop. Every other word should be Mintcast. Mintcast.
Yeah.
And now, Mintcast
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Mintcast.
We say it quite a few times. So like even though I mean you've obviously subscribed to Mintcast. It says Mintcast in the logo, so you're never without it. And it says it in the intro, the bio thing and all that.
Now with extra Mintcast.
Yeah. Have you had enough mint yet? Here's some more mint.
For watching now, we lost 2 watchers.
Already.
Uh-huh.
It's because we're not being interesting, Joe.
Is that what it is?
No, probably not.
I 3D printed something yesterday. I say
Oh, yeah?
yesterday, but I started like the day before.
What you got? What is it?
Not that interesting. It's a...
It's a helmet.
No, yeah, it's a helmet.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, it's a stand for screwdrivers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. So you just slot them in.
Yeah, and...
That's cool.
Well, hold on. Hope you don't get motion sickness.
Oh, my... Brr.
I'm gonna mount it to my little workstation here. As you can see, I kind of got set up. Got my phone there set up for recording, soldering if I decide to do some here in the next few minutes. And then I have a stand, not that I made that stand, but for my pliers.
Cool.
And that kind of convinced me that I should get a stand for my screwdriver, and I just grabbed the STL off of Thingiverse and made it.
Cool. So what I wanted to see...
It was about a day and a half print. Because it's friggin' huge.
Oh, all right. So you're going to have to imagine. Check this out. This is Wizixo, I guess. This is what Clem is using. This is the back end of it. So you're going to see this this thing, whatever's going on back here. You'll have access to links. It'll be live. You can kind of scroll through it. So this is the template he's using. So what do y'all think? It's going to be, let me see. Oh, yeah. So obviously with all the Linux Mint branding and stuff, but this is it right here.
I think we had more listeners when you were singing.
We didn't have any listeners when I was singing because I wasn't live
thank God.
streaming at that point.
Huh? What? Oh.
Nah, see, that's how you go viral, man.
By singing horrible songs from the 90s?
Yeah. I mean, it's basically karaoke, and people pay good money for that kind of thing.
They don't pay me enough good money for that type of thing.
All I need is a hot tub and a bikini and a Twitch account, and then, man, I'll be good to go.
Get me a bottle of whiskey or something to start me off.
Hey, I had...
and you might get more than you bargained for.
I had a couple of whiskey sours last night. I'll probably have a couple more tonight. Those are very good. It's like a margarita, but American style or something. They're really good.
Sounds like it.
So yeah, what do y'all think? I mean, it's fairly reactive for as much content as flaps around all over this website. It's not too bad. Get your menus, do all that. Uh-oh, heard somebody.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh
Hey,
my,
Bo.
hey, there we go. Cool. We got a third.
Haven't heard from Bo in forever.
I know. We almost heard from you last weekend. Almost.
I've been living in a 90-degree house.
Oh my god, dude. So we got up to. Did you see what I had said in the chat?
Yeah.
Dude. Dude. It was terrible. And I only had to deal with it for a couple of hours, man. So how many days are you talking?
Well, so it lasted from Thursday to Thursday, basically.
Oh god.
Yeah, it wasn't 90 that whole time. It was 90 from like Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
So like it went out on Thursday of last week, or yeah, it went out on Thursday of last week. Week before last, and then the guy came out and he just put more Freon in it, and then everything was fine for a day or two, and then it went out again
You have a
on
Freon
Friday.
leak.
Right, yeah. And so when it went out again, the guy was like, "Oh, you must have a leak. I'll come out and fill it up. Maybe it'll, we'll have to send somebody out to find the leak and then fix it, and maybe it'll last for, a while until it comes back." It didn't last 24 hours. By Saturday morning, we could tell it wasn't working, but it wasn't extremely hot in the house yet. And then, it just creeped up, got hotter and hotter and hotter until we couldn't stand to stay there. Actually, I canceled all my plans Saturday, and we just packed up and went and stayed at my mom's, and we've been staying at my mom's house basically since Saturday until they finally came and fixed it on Thursday. So yeah, it was basically
that's cool.
Off and on again for a full week during 90-degree South Carolina weather.
Oof. Well, yeah, it was the day that it went out on us. It was 100, and it went from, I guess it was like 80, 86 or whatever. So it had crept up to 86 overnight, which is fine. I mean, I can handle that with a fan. Keep the window open, you'd be all right. But slowly but surely, as noon got closer, it just crept up by a degree every 30 minutes or so and hit 91. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get a window unit and fix this, right? I mean, at least temporarily, we'll keep one room cool. We'll be all right, and we'll just hang out back here. But then my wife knew somebody that was already in town, so we lucked out. He was in town. He does a little AC work on the side, so we had him come out and take a look at it. And he was like, "Well, the compressor goes out a lot on these kinds of units, so let me just try a new one real quick." And about 5 minutes after he did that, I started feeling cold air come out of the vents, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're saved!" So I looked it up. That particular compressor was about $30. And if I had known how to do it and known how to look it up, man, I'd have done it myself. But dude, yeah, that's scary stuff because those compressors are right in the circuit. So I'm not trying to kill myself with electricity.
Yeah.
But yeah, only a day. I only had to suffer a day, so I don't envy you having to suffer. Well, I don't know. I guess it was suffer, slightly less suffer, and then suffer again.
Yeah.
I work from this garage right here.
And it's what in there?
How hot is it outside?
It's that hot in there?
It's not like there's an air conditioner in my garage.
Oh my god.
Oh my
I have
goodness.
a fan, that's it.
How are you doing this?
Dude, I don't know.
I'm from El Paso.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean, dude, I sweat once it's 81. Once we get into the 80s, like if I move at all, any of my extremities, I'm sweating.
Well, it's been what, 100 and something here for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, supposedly it'll hit 100 a day. We'll see.
But I'll also tell you, it's not uncommon to occasionally work in my underwear.
Well, I mean, in 100-degree weather, you kind of don't have a choice, man. Spritz yourself with a little water, turn a fan on, you'll feel all right.
I could go inside and work from my chair, and I will do that on occasion. The problem is that the kids are home and they live here too.
Yeah. Oh.
And I don't want to say, hey, everybody, no talking for the next 8 hours while I'm on these stupid phone calls.
Yeah. I locked myself. The room that I'm in now was a garage, but they just before I bought the house, they
remodeled
renovated
it
into a master bed. And so everything is pretty isolated back here. There's a couple doors before you get to screaming kids, so it usually works out pretty well. And so the only rule is don't come barging in here if you need something.
Well, if my eldest ever, like moves out or anything, I will turn her room into an office, and I'll be able to sound isolate that well enough.
Yeah. But right now I have a dog in here, a very large dog. He's sleeping.
You've heard my dogs. They're not tiny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a tiny one. I have a 35-pounder. He looks like a short-haired German Shepherd, mostly black with a little brown in places. And the one that's sleeping in here is a Great Dane. We just weighed him. He's 109 pounds. I expected him to weigh a little bit more, but.
How old?
He'll be 2 in November. No, 2 in August. 2 in August.
Still pretty young.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not done growing. I think they stopped growing at about 2.5 or 3. But
Great Danes are fun.
I mean, they say gentle giant, and I mean, yeah, that's not incorrect.
It's true, but they do tend to have a lot of health problems.
Oh, they do. My wife knew that going in. I don't know why she does. I mean, I'm a get a mutt kind of guy. Like
Right, exactly. Go get a rescue.
Anything. Yep. Exactly. And that's what this little 35-pounder was. We had no idea how big he was going to be. He looked shepherdish, so I mean, we knew that much. But that's about it. And he has turned out to be a really good dog. He's 6 now though, so he's getting he's slowing down just a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, he'll still play around with the Great Dane all the time. Way too small to do it, but
are in the 9 or 10 range.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they're getting a little bit older, but they're labs, so they're puppies till they die.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think my next dog is going to be probably not a purebred, but I'm looking for something along the lines of a Texas Shepherd.
Mm-hmm. What's a Texas Shepherd? Never seen one.
It's like an Australian Shepherd. Well, it's a variant of the Australian Shepherd.
Oh, herd. H-E-R-D, huh? Like that? Which one?
See the top right corner?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are really cute dogs.
A little bit smaller than the dogs I got now.
Was that a 50, 60-pounder?
Probably less. Probably 40.
Yeah, that's a good size. I like my Shepherd. That's a very good size. I like that size. But he's got this it's not shrill, it's just really loud and piercing. His bark. So, I mean, if there's anybody around the house, you'll know it. And it will scare you awake, and you'll get that pre-shot of adrenaline so you can take care of anything. Like you'll already be hopped up.
Yep.
Ready for whatever. But yeah, that's a really cool dog.
One of my dogs has some sleeping problems.
Mm-hmm.
So and they sleep in a kennel together. Mm-hmm. So she'll get twitchy in her sleep because she's having sleep problems, and the other dog will get pissed off that she's getting kicked. So she's perfected this extremely high pitch, annoying bark in the middle of the night to wake up the dog. And it works. It wakes up the dog and me and sometimes the wife and the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, our Dane is like that. He'll twitch a lot for some reason. And it's only for a couple of minutes or whatever. I guess he's dreaming. But if you're next to him while he does that, man, yeah, he will punt you. It doesn't feel nice. But yeah, gentle giant when he's awake. Bo, you have a dog?
Yeah, we have a Boston Terrier.
How big are those?
Like 30 pounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh, that's cute.
she's kind of smaller than most too, because we got really lucky. Um, a family we know had 2 Boston Terriers, and so they bred them just kind of like, they're not like professionals or anything.
Hmm.
And they just gave the puppies away. And then at a certain point, I don't know why. I don't know if they couldn't give them all away or they just got fed up with having a dog or what, but they ended up taking all the dogs to the pound. And so
Oh,
we helped them find homes for all the puppies. And
oh
as
man, that's
far as I
good.
know, we're the only people that, like, I think of that whole litter, we're the only people that like kept the Boston Terrier. I don't know. It was 11
Wow.
years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's
So he's a
11
little old
years old.
man now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's
Oh man.
Dr. Beverly Crusher is her
No,
name. We call her
no
Crusher.
way.
Oh yeah. My wife named her.
So what do you call her, Doc?
No, we call her Crusher. When people hear the
Oh,
name Crusher, they're always like expecting some like ferocious large dog, and
yeah.
then and they also think she's a boy. We're like, no,
Oh,
it's Dr. Beverly Crusher.
got it. Yeah, yeah. I went the opposite way, man. Our Great Dane. Okay, so any Great Dane I've ever looked up, any YouTube video, any whatever, Great Danes are always called things like Zeus and Thor
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
things like that. Super strong names. Um, so this dog had like a white E on his chest.
Mm.
So we knew he had to have a name that started with an E. And I wanted to be anti that. I didn't want Thor or, whatever, Aquaman, huge names, right? So we just named him Early. He
Mm.
looked dopey. So, like I was like, all right, well, what kind of names sound like you're from, just a
So
slow
you
moving area, and Early came to mind. And I thought it was a funny name, and my wife said fine. So his name is Early. And
I
I
like that
swear
name.
we've added more, so me and my wife, um, there's more Texas twang in our accents now between each other, and I think it's because of him.
Because it's saying early.
Yeah, because
Early.
you say early all the time, early this and early that, and just take them outside and, get a little water out there and just do whatever you need to do. Come on. Yeah,
My
early.
I just had a family member that they've been trying to move to Texas for over a year. They
On
finally
purpose?
they Yep, his job took him out there. He's out
Mm.
in Mansfield, Texas.
Mansfield. Where the heck is Mansfield?
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I was born in Texas, although I never remember it. But whenever
Mhm.
I told my dad that my family member had moved out there, he's like, "Oh, that's where we used to live." So apparently, at one
Oh,
time, my
Mansfield, huh?
mom and dad lived there. Yeah, I was born in Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, this is near Arlington. Oh, so this is near Fort Worth, right outside.
So sometime,
there
probably in
I am.
2022, I'll
Yeah,
probably be heading out there to visit family. I'll try to catch up with you guys somewhere.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see
I'm,
where his pointer is right now? That's where I'm at in that
Plano?
area. North of Plano, well,
Okay.
east. I'm south of McKinney.
I gotcha, so somewhere right here. Oh, you're by the
Yeah.
water.
Oh, close.
Yeah. I'm 200 miles west, a little over 200 miles west, off I-20.
I
And
don't know
then I
how
did
many.
stay in Arlington for a while.
Oh, yeah, I like Arlington, it's really close to Six Flags. I've been trying to convince my daughter we need to go. But she's not 48 inches yet, so she can't get on a lot of the big rides, and
Yeah,
I just wanna see her face on rides like that, but I figure they've got other things, we can go, and I'll get her excited to go when she's a little taller and can fit and all this stuff.
yeah.
But, like, you could probably do the log ride, and then there's, little boat rides and those swings and things like that, so, I mean, we can get there.
I am currently preparing to run a D&D game tonight.
Ooh.
This will be the first in-person game since before the pandemic started.
Oh, did you hear that there's a new text-based magic or not magic, Vampire the Masquerade game?
That's cool. No, I've actually never played Vampire the Masquerade. Scott has. My buddy Scott has.
Well, I've played the actual desktop role-playing game, but I was talking about there's a new computer game out for it, and then there's supposed to be another one coming out in the next year or two.
Yeah, and I've actually never played either. The desktop, I was talking about the RPG, but I've never played the computer game either. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of both of them, but I've never done it.
Have you ever played Dragonstorm?
Dragonstorm. Let me look it up. I'm guessing that I have not, but I'm gonna look it up.
That looks pretty cool.
Oh, I know the Magic the Gathering card, Dragonstorm.
No, there was a RPG game.
Here's
desktop role-playing game called Dragonstorm.
No,
Nishant from chat will be in here in a minute.
It wasn't very popular. It didn't last very long. And then I've never been able to convince anybody to play Shadowrun, so.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm aware of, but I've never played.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I see a lot of people. I mean, the people that like the game really, really, really like the game.
Right.
It's like taking D&D and Cyberpunk and slamming them together. So what's there not to like about it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the vibe I get. So I guess that's all we get on this website is that one screenshot.
Hey, Nishant.
Hi.
Hey. All right. Much better.
Oh, hi.
What's that?
Nothing, just coding.
Oh, cool. So I guess this is what we'll see. I like it. It looks good. It looks way more modern than before. As opposed to... yeah, it needs a facelift.
Finally, they changed the website, didn't they?
Well, that's the idea. I don't think they're it's not out yet. He says the 20.2 release is what held it up. And yeah, constantly looking for artists. So I think they're just looking for someone with a good eye for art. And I would imagine a little bit of coding so you can actually put the site together.
Well, I picked up something interesting yesterday from Facebook Marketplace.
Ooh.
Picked up for $20. I got 3 Xbox 360s and a PS3. The 3 Xbox 360s are all red ringed.
Oh.
So the red ring of death. So they've all got some kind of hardware issue that I'm gonna have to go in and find.
So are you gonna try and like Frankenstein one together?
Maybe. But I also had like 2 other Xbox 360s that I had sitting around, but one of them's a slim instead of the fats that the other ones are. So I'm gonna work on those, but I gotta get another power supply for the slim, and one of the 360s, I guess it has the original power supply, which is slightly different than the ones for the other fats. So I gotta get a power supply for that. And I also, along with the 3 360s was the PS3, and the PS3 was working perfectly from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But it was probably having overheating issues, so I'll take it apart, clean it, maybe replace the thermal paste, and put it back together. And I just ordered controllers for that. I don't have any games, but I'm thinking about putting custom firmware on there and turning it into an emulation station.
Yeah.
Well, did I need to record anything?
No, we're good. This just goes. This is just the live stream, so it gets recorded automatically.
So that'll probably go into the bi-weekly wanderings for next week.
That's cool. I dig it. So
I have a
hopefully you
lot
end up
of
with a good one or something. Oh, the fat PlayStation, that's the one you could put Linux on.
Yeah, that is a PS3 fat, and
I remember.
You can put Linux on it, but I don't think I'm going to do that because unless you're gonna daisy chain a whole bunch of them together, I don't think it's actually worth it.
Why? What do you mean?
Well,
it's real Linux, man.
It's real Linux, but how much can you actually run on it?
I don't know, Linux. whatever Linux, is whatever.
Now, I don't think it will do N64 emulation, but very few things do N64 emulation. So
right.
I'll be able to do quite a bit else with it. Maybe, well, I should probably pull out my PS1s as well, but they're working. But
oh man, I remember the PlayStations, the original one.
Yeah.
I didn't have one for the longest time. I think it was like they were out for a couple of years before I ever got one.
I think out of the box, the PS3s will play PS1 games, so I should be able to put the Armored Core Masters of Arena copy that I have in there and play that.
Yeah.
And if I have custom firmware on there, I can rip my copy of Armored Core Masters of Arena, and I won't have to worry about swapping discs.
Right. Hey, Bo, what have y'all covered on CKP lately?
We've been doing like distro hopping type stuff.
And that's why Josh was saying he always comes back to Mint.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. We didn't do that on purpose, but I did too. I installed Mint again last night. He has a whole lot more trouble than I do. I think he's like trying more experimental builds. Like he's like, running different file systems and stuff. I just go ext4 and make everything as basic as possible, and I usually don't have any problems. But
right,
I still there's just the comfort there when I use Mint versus other distros.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, the Ubuntu base is so widely used, I guess, and there's so much documentation about it. It's unless you're doing the experimental stuff, it's really hard to break it.
Yeah,
because even my box, I've got the Keysax Mesa, which is like hot off the press Mesa. Whatever stable is, it's immediately available to you. I use the newer kernel. And there's a couple other things I do to it. So, I mean, but it's never broken on me. Like, I've never had to actually use a time shift to get back to a working state or anything like that, unless I physically broke it doing something dumb. So, yeah, I don't know.
I always break.
What's that?
I always break my system trying to do changes in the kernel.
Yeah.
Do you use one of the kernels that is available through Ubuntu or Mint, or what do you use?
Sometimes I use custom ZanMod for gaming.
Oh, ZanMod. Yeah, that one's a good one. And there was another one for gaming that is supposed to be really good. And then
we tested ZanMod on an early episode of CKP.
Was it really better, or is it, 2 extra frames?
In my testing, it was like no frame difference really.
Really?
But that doesn't mean that there was some like there could have still been some improvements. Like even though my FPS didn't really change, there still could have been other improvements. And that's what I've found across almost all the testing that we've done so far. So we've done 5 different distros, and every single time I've ran a gravity mark test, and I always run the Valve Lost Coast, which is a really old FPS test, but it was one that I had available when we did our first one, and so I've just done it on all of them to keep it consistent. And yeah, they're within like just a couple point difference, like enough of a difference that it's probably a rounding error.
Right.
So most of the review comes down to how hard was it to get set up to get to that point. If they're all going to have a similar outcome, then I guess getting from installation to that point is really, the best thing that we can review.
Right.
and I've found that very varying between the different distributions. We tried, so we started with Fedora 34, and then we did Ubuntu 2104, and then the two that we still have to record. We were going to get together last night, but because Josh had to work today, we canceled.
Right.
We were going to do Garuda.
Oh, right. I heard good things
One of
about
my
that.
favorites.
And I tested Garuda i3 and Garuda GNOME edition. And then we did Manjaro. And then now we're both back on Linux Mint.
Yeah, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah, it looks like so on the Ubuntu side, it looks like you can use Xanmod and Licorix. Those are the two. The Licorix was the one that I couldn't think of. That's
Oh, I haven't checked that out.
and then there's Zen, which is for Arch based distros. But it looks like it. I mean, and this article is old enough that this is basically always turned on if you're using something like Lutris or Proton. But yeah, everything else is basically done.
May I?
What's that?
I have used Liquorix. It's not much difference between the two.
Yeah, and this guy's got this is Chris Titus Tech. He's got the Phoronix test suite stuff between Licorix. So it's 5.4. So this is basically Ubuntu 2004. He's got the frames on Licorix, the newer one. So 175 versus Xanmod's 193. So at least back then, Xanmod was better by 20 frames a second on BioShock Infinite. But I mean, if you look, why wouldn't you just not put in all that work? Because the Linux kernel by itself was basically the same as Xanmod. So this kind of goes to what you were saying, Bo. There's no difference.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
We've
cool,
also,
though.
yeah, we also got a video up about the Steam Deck. I know everybody's excited about that.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until the first batch of Steam Decks are out. So all those beta testers can get it out of the way, and then I'll buy whenever they're regularly available. I'll buy one at that
I'll
point.
tell you how mine is because I got in the first pre-order.
Good. And Owen did too. So we're gonna have. I've conned Owen into coming onto the show after he gets his in. So it'll probably be in the new year sometime.
Yeah, I'll definitely be doing. I'll do as many videos as I can.
Cool.
Even if the thing's awful, I'll try to get as much content as possible out of that $400 or whatever it's going to cost.
So you got the tier one, the basic one.
Yeah, I did. Have you already talked about this on Mintcast?
We mentioned it, and I mentioned that Owen had pre-ordered it. I may have mentioned that you pre-ordered it. Did you put that in the chat somewhere?
Probably.
Then I likely mentioned it. Yeah, so that's about as far as we went. I mean, other than going to the website and talking about what its basic capabilities are.
I was gonna say in my wonderings, I could talk about why I chose the one I did and all of that.
Okay, so is it upgradable? Like for real?
Well, by SD card it is, and Josh believes. So Josh told me haven't looked and confirmed yet, but he believes that he heard somewhere that you could actually upgrade the drive inside the device.
Right, and that's outside of the top tier one having that special screen. There is no difference between them besides storage.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. You could see what it's like on the eMMC, and if it's good enough, then you keep it, and then if it's not good enough, you upgrade it, and it'll end up being about the same cost anyway. And you can choose a good NVMe like a Samsung or a Western Digital Black.
I think that if I was not doing a Linux gaming podcast right now, I don't know that I would have jumped right on it when I did. But the device was tempting enough. Plus, I knew that I could get show content out of it. And that was enough to push me over the edge to buy it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that it's a whole computer is my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Fact that it runs Arch-based stuff is amazing.
Oh yeah, I would have expected that. Not at all. That it's Arch-based. So I would imagine have they decided if they're going to run their own repos for the Arch stuff? That way they'll give you a buffer between Arch is new everything all of the time, and there's 100 updates every day kind of thing, or...
I haven't heard that, but I bet that is how it'll work. I bet it'll be sort of like Manjaro, but maybe even a further lead time than what Manjaro does. Manjaro's lead time is just a few weeks.
Well, honestly, my thought for... Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see 100 different updates because they're already having to update their games, and then they'll have to update the operating system. What's going to happen is they're going to roll it up into one big fat update and do snapshotting, kind of like OpenSUSE does.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I know they're going to do a custom kernel. There's no way they can't. There's going to be special hardware in there that won't be... I would imagine it's not upstreamed in the kernel by the time it's released. So, I mean, because they're using it now. I mean, I imagine they're internally testing now. So they need that stuff. I would imagine there's already a custom kernel made, and that'll just be what they stick with. It'll be kind of like a Zanmod or a Licorix kind of kernel for now, tuned specifically for that device. And then all of those tweaks and changes and whatever will either be upstreamed, so in the kernel itself, or there'll be a competitor here. Like there'll be a Zanmod, it'll be the Steam Deck kernel, and you can run it if you want.
You mean to say like a Manjaro? Like Manjaro has its own kernel? Something like that?
Does Manjaro have its own kernel?
Like 5.1, once I checked, it showed me 5.11 dash Manjaro. Like it was fixed. Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Something like that.
You can search for it if you want, because I saw it like that on my Manjaro setup.
Manjaro kernels.
So, do we have a innards topic?
What do you want to talk about?
Shoot, I don't know.
If you're listening right now, what do you want to hear about?
It will be prefixed. Manjaro will be prefixed at the end, like Linux 5.0.
Let me see. There's got to be a uname R in here somewhere to show you what that looks like. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So what do they do to it? I mean, I guess I could just read this whole article, but there's got to be something that they do to it that necessitates that they use a Manjaro kernel instead of just the mainline kernels.
Maybe add their own little mods.
No, you're right. Because they do those devices, right? Like they partner with Pine Phone and that Plasma Mobile and all that stuff. They use Manjaro, so that's probably what that is.
And Tuxedo Computers also uses Manjaro for some of its systems.
I bet you that's exactly what it is. Yeah, they add their own flavor to it for those devices, and then the rest of it is just the normal kernel, so it'll run normally for everybody else. That's cool. Okay, well, that's fine. And I guess you could just run a mainline kernel if you want to. I'm sure that's just an option in their little picker.
Yes, but they do not recommend that, actually.
Okay. I wonder why.
Stability, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like in, what is it? Like, I imagine Arch doesn't have a whole lot of issue with stability in the kernel. You'd definitely hear more about that. Manjaro.
To be honest, I have broken my app install many times.
Was it because of a custom kernel or for some other reason?
NVIDIA, trying to install NVIDIA on it.
Yeah, but NVIDIA will break anything that's not basically Ubuntu.
Yeah, sometimes it'll break Ubuntu.
Yeah,
so.
well, right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. That's the entire reason I just do AMD from top to bottom anymore, man. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with the heartache of an update breaking my stuff. Like, dude, all I want to do is play a game. Don't do that to me.
I'm now confused whether to get a ThinkPad just for Linux or just upgrade the storage to 1 terabyte and dual boot.
Well, we were talking about that T495, man. That's got the 3000 series Ryzen, what is it, the mobile version that has a decent gaming chip in it. I mean, it's not going to compare to like a 1660 or anything, but it'll play some games on a portable laptop and not totally just destroy your battery. So I think that's good enough. That's what I'm looking at. That's likely what I'll upgrade from this T450. But I think what I want is once I can find one for about $500, I'll pick it up.
I'm thinking of going for the ThinkPad E14 Gen 2.
Yeah, and that one's new, like new, isn't it?
Yes, it's based on Ryzen 5 5500.
Yeah. Yeah, I figure once these yeah, it's a 460. So they're about $600, $700. Once I can find one for maybe
The E14 Gen 2 is about the same price, new, just Ryzen 5.
I think the E and the L, and there's a couple other series, are not the professional grade series. I mean, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference between them, but I like the T series just because I know everything will work. Let me see.
Best thing about ThinkPads is you have options of without shipping it without the $100 cost of Windows.
Oh yeah, that's huge. I love that. Now I like getting the refurbished ones mostly because a lot of times it's just a company selling 100 of them because they bought them and don't need them anymore. And half of the ones that are in that list or in that pile never even got used. So the T450S that I have now, you could tell. I mean, there wasn't even any like finger oil on the keyboards or anything. The thing was basically new in box.
Yes, easier to maintain also. That's what I heard from one of my friends using a ThinkPad.
Oh yeah, even the S series T450S that I have right now, one of the modules, the memory modules, is soldered in, but everything else is replaceable. I've upgraded the screen, I've upgraded the drive, I've upgraded the memory. I don't think there's anything left on it besides the CPU, which you can't upgrade. That I haven't upgraded.
So what is your suggestion? SSD upgrade or a totally secondary laptop?
The one that I'm looking at?
No, I'm talking about myself.
Well, on mine, you mean mine?
Yeah, your suggestion on buying a secondary laptop versus upgrading a SSD to 1 TB.
Oh, I mean, I'm secondhand all the way. Definitely do that, and then upgrade it as much as you want. Because what I've done with mine, this is what I've got now. They're really cheap now. But it had a 2.5-inch spot for the SSD, and then it had an extra. So where the I guess it was like cell service. You could put cell service on this. In that spot, I just added another drive. So I've got two physical SSDs.
Did you have trouble finding the correct drive for it?
Yeah, it's that NGFF.
Yeah,
2240. Yeah.
And it's got to be a specific NGFF usually with the controller already built into it, and then you have to make sure that it's an M or a B. It gets a little annoying trying to find the proper drive that will actually work in the.
Yeah, it's just you got to get the right size, and if you're using that slot, it has to be in GFF. It cannot be in VME. That's the only deal. But
and well, it also has to be the proper key. It's either B or M. So you probably got lucky.
No. In GFF, it's keyed right. It's keyed for it's specifically that NGFF style drive is keyed specifically for those slots.
Cool.
So it is pretty decent. I didn't pay any kind of premium, maybe like a $5 premium.
Yeah, no, the drives are relatively cheap.
Right.
But I've had trouble in the past just getting the right drive.
Yeah. You definitely can't get the NVMe. That was the biggest thing. That's the big key difference.
And no. There's more key difference.
Right, but the ones that if it's an NGFF drive, it will fit into those slots because it's keyed correctly, or it's got the extra notch which you don't need. So it doesn't. Right, but it doesn't prevent you from installing it into that essentially it's like a SATA port, and you get SATA speeds on it. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, I've done that on several computers, and it can definitely extend the life, especially of something like a tablet.
Yeah, this is what I got. This one right here. TC Sunbow. It was the only one available at the time. Yeah, that's it right there.
Any suggestions for a good NVMe?
Does
Are
price
you
matter?
running any type of solid state right now?
Yes, 512 gigabytes of SSD.
What kind of drive is it?
NVMe M2.
What's the brand?
SSD brand?
No, like, is it Western Digital, Samsung, Seagate?
SX.
Oh, the ADATA SX.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm running in my desktop. I have the SX 7000 in my desktop, which is not the fastest thing in the world.
Still faster than spinning.
Oh, and it's faster than the SATA ones. This one's like, let me see. It obviously doesn't get the speeds, but yeah, 800 megabytes per second read.
I don't know exactly if it's ADATA, but it is SX something.
This
I
right here,
didn't
right?
open my laptop yet.
Yeah, SX.
Yes.
That's this is the exact one I have in my desktop, which is pretty slow for NVMe. They have newer ones. I think the SX 8000 is faster. And that's the newer one. You may have ended up with this one.
It's a 2021 laptop, Aspire 7 Ryzen 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and this is much, much faster.
Yes, 3500 Mbps read
Yeah.
write.
So I went with this is what I have now.
My brother recommends Samsung 980.
Oh, the Samsung 980 is great.
Yeah.
But this is what I've got now.
The 980 Evo.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that's higher than the 512.
Well, yeah, the 980 Evo is top of the line, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're trying to balance costs, it doesn't really matter which one you get.
Oh, I take that back. I think I have this on the 750.
Well, WD I had in my old laptop, it was HDD. It served me very well for 8 years before failing.
Oh man, coming from a hard drive going to any NVMe or solid state drive it's insane.
Yeah,
how fast
that's
it is.
really the only time you're going to notice the difference too,
Yeah.
unless you're really, really timing your startups or something. Anything else is just a bit of fluff.
I did time my startup on Fedora. It's like from cold to login screen within 5 seconds on the SSD.
That's fast. That's really fast.
Yep.
I don't think you need an upgrade, man.
But
That's
right
really
now,
fast.
the reason I need an upgrade is I have Windows also, and I game a lot on
Oh,
Windows.
I got
So
you.
I need space for that.
That's,
Windows and Linux, different partitions.
But that's why I loved the ThinkPad, because I could install 2 separate drives, one for Linux and one for Windows, and I could have it, and it wouldn't. Neither of them would interfere with each other.
Oh, and there are budgetary constraints right now, so I cannot buy a different laptop.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I can't find my soldering paste. My flux. Can't find a flux. So I've got to pull out the backup flux.
So what's up in the Mint world?
Not much, really.
What? I missed that.
What's up in the Mint world?
Oh, that's it, man. Just the new website, and they're targeting 20.3. That's about it.
So in how many years do they update their OS as a whole?
On the show, like us?
No, I'm talking about development cycle of Mint.
Well, what, 20.2 just came out.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned Christmas for 20.3. So every 6
months. How many months?
6, give or take.
Oh, that's nice, because I feel Mint's development cycle is very slow, considering they like to keep it stable.
No, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And really, the only things that they upgrade are, Cinnamon, the update manager, kind of the look and feel. Everything else is Ubuntu. So, I mean, the development cycle for that is just whatever Ubuntu is.
Okay.
Yeah, slow and steady. That's it. I mean, from 20.1 to 20.2, if you just looked at it, you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't notice the difference between one or the other. And same with 20.0. So,
yeah, you really got to go and look at the notes to see what's been updated.
yeah. And that's it. Because, you've got the other applications like, what do you call it? Bulky, which is that bulk renamer utility, warpinator, things like that. So I mean, it's really just applications outside of the desktop environment that they work on.
Okay, and good news for Wayland users. Ubuntu is switching to Wayland and Pop may switch to Wayland from 2110.
Call it good news.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
the first time they tried to switch to Wayland.
Yeah, but I don't think Mint is going to switch to Wayland until possibly 21, the big upgrade, or possibly even 22, depending on what's going on.
Wait, Cinnamon supports Wayland?
No, not right now, and that's the whole deal. Why they're not focusing on that at all. Cinnamon will be X based for a long time.
Even when everybody starts actually switching to Wayland, I'm sure X is still going to be an option for a really long time.
Yeah.
Right now, NVIDIA supports X Wayland, X server session on top of Wayland display.
Yeah, I had seen, I guess it may have been Fedora, that there was some new software or something like that out, or maybe it was an upgrade to something, and everybody was excited that NVIDIA was going to work well with Wayland, and then it didn't.
No, actually, it disables it. You need to edit the GDM rules, 61.gdm rules file.
Right, and so people were excited that you were able to do that it was going to work well, and so people used NVIDIA on Fedora with Wayland, and everything was broken still. So NVIDIA's not there yet. But that's another reason why I use AMD stuff. I don't even bother with NVIDIA anything anymore.
No, I had to choose NVIDIA because before, long time ago, I had a PC with NVIDIA GT 8800. So
yeah, and that was a good card, actually. I remember that card.
Most of your NVIDIAs are good cards.
Yeah, I had an 8600 GT, I think is what it was.
I totally understand people are frustrated with the lack of support, but it's slowly getting there.
Yeah. Well, if you use a lot of Windows, then NVIDIA is still good. It's still a good choice. It's just that you're limited in Linux because Wayland, and a lot of things are moving to Wayland. And I would imagine, I guess Ubuntu in 2204, if it detects an NVIDIA card, it's just not going to enable it. It's just going to fall you back to X.
No, you need to go to the software and updates or software something, whatever it's called, and then you have to install it manually.
Oh, right. But on boot, it's going to fall you back to X because you have to enable the hardware. But Ubuntu also allows you to choose the NVIDIA driver in the first place before you ever boot. So you don't have to enable it anymore. You just have to choose it on boot. And then, but when you boot in, what I'm saying is that they're not even going to offer you Wayland. It's not even going to give you the option or even boot you into it at all because it's going to break. Everything is going to be broken. And it'll be a terrible experience.
I don't actually select the install driver option on setup because it does not install the latest 470. It installs the older 460 drivers.
Yeah, and that's going to be totally dependent on when they rolled their ISO. So, yeah, 2204 will likely have a driver that's compatible. And unless NVIDIA puts out a driver that does actually support Wayland and everything is ready to go, then, yeah, they're just going to fall back to X. So it's going to be a long time before NVIDIA and Wayland, even though it works, before it hits mainstream.
Okay, one question. Why is there a lag in NVIDIA drivers in Windows and Linux?
What do you mean? Like
Linux driver version seems to be behind Windows always.
Oh, yeah, NVIDIA doesn't care.
It's not high priority.
Yeah. Less than 1% of their users are on Linux, so they don't care. It's not a priority for them.
Right now, I'm on 471.41 on Windows, and it is 470.52 on Linux.
That sounds right. They have
That's
a
huge difference.
Yeah, they have a small team working on it, porting it, and I'm sure it's just not a priority for them.
Okay, then I think I would have to stick with Windows with virtual machine on Linux once in a while.
I mean, yeah, with NVIDIA, you don't really have a choice, I think. I mean, if you're okay with running X on an older driver, then yeah, cool. I mean, it's going to work for you and everything will be great. But yeah, if you want the latest and greatest driver support from NVIDIA, it's going to be on Windows. You don't have a choice.
Well, that's basically everybody and everything. I mean, video games, everything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Proton's getting really good, and if we're actually to believe what Steam Deck is promising us, then I mean, it sounds like Proton's going to be able to run every game under the sun, no matter what, in every scenario. So unless you've got the jankiest, weirdest hardware, it'll probably work.
If I ever get a Steam Deck, I'm putting a Linux other than the Steam OS on it.
It's already going to have Steam OS on it.
Yeah, it's already got Arch.
No, I'm talking about pure Linux versions.
Well, what would you put on it?
Arch.
Oh,
so
Arch
on it.
No, I'm confused now.
Okay, the Steam Deck is going to ship with Arch. It has Arch on it when you get it.
Oh, so it's not a like UI change or something like that on top of Arch?
Well, right. That's all it is. It's just the Steam Big Picture mode. So you just turn that off, or you prevent it from starting on boot, and you're just in Arch at that point.
Oh, okay.
And so the only thing you would need to do is just install your favorite desktop environment, and it's still just Arch. So yeah, you really don't have to change much. And I think that's why a lot of people in Linux, in the Linux communities, are so excited for it. It's just Linux.
I was confused. I thought it would be like Samsung's interface where they skin everything over Android.
Gross. No, it's just going to be, it will literally be Steam running on top of Arch with the big picture mode enabled by default. And all you need to do is just turn that off.
You can really tell you have daughters.
Me?
That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, gross.
What? Why? What?
Gross. You use the word gross.
Oh, she's not old enough to have opinions on the words yet. That's just me. But I do use gross a lot because it's gross. It's gross, man.
Is it a gross?
No, just regular gross.
How much is a gross?
An egg roll is about $2.
Computer, turn off switch 1.
Wow, voice activation.
Joe's plugged in, man.
I had to turn off my fan because I'm using this lighter here to.
So what do you use for home automation, Joe?
Alexa.
Okay.
Tied into the Amazon Borg. Okay.
Leo, so which was the latest distribution you used apart from Mint, of course?
Chaos. I just got done recording the episode for Linux User Space, and we spent a month with Chaos.
How is Chaos for daily use?
If you want Plasma, if you like Plasma, it's fantastic. It's the newest. Seriously, one of the things that we talked about was the fact that the day that the KDE group released 11.4, whatever the newest version was, the day they released it, it was available in Chaos. So if you want the latest, say that. Oh, that's probably it. Yep. Whatever it was 0.4. So if it's
5.22.4.
Yep. The day it was released, it was available on Chaos.
Oh, for me, the best KDE distro has to be Kubuntu, or however you pronounce that.
Yeah, no, that's how I pronounce it too.
It's like 8 hours of battery life on a single charge in Plasma.
Yeah, well, Ubuntu does a lot of work to make that happen, and that's fantastic. But the only reason I wouldn't run Kubuntu is because you have to wait 6 months for the upgrades. And I mean,
that's not a problem.
Yeah,
for
and it
me at
really,
least.
it's really not. I agree. But if you watch the development cycle and see what everybody's doing and all the new stuff, and especially now with the Wayland support, so Plasma supports Wayland very well now. You won't see that in Kubuntu until October. So it works now, but Ubuntu won't see it until October.
Computer, turn on switch 1.
Actually, I'm excited for Pop's transition to Wayland once Ubuntu makes the transition.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. So I guess we'll see that in the next development cycle. So,
but I'm worried about their NVIDIA ISOs though.
Yep, exactly. But a lot of that work is going to be done on the Ubuntu side, and Pop will likely contribute to that effort because their whole thing is, well, you can game really easily on it. So they have a very big interest in making sure that it works. But I mean, they may just do what Linux Mint does and just blacklist Wayland, so it doesn't get installed and it's not an option until they get it fixed in maybe 2204 or something.
All these interim release, their features get added in the LTS. That's what I've been reading about.
That's the point. They add all the new features in the interim releases to make sure that it's stable for the LTS. That's the whole point of that. But if Wayland doesn't stick in 21.10, then we're not going to see it in the LTS, and we'll have to wait 2 more years before Wayland is default in Ubuntu.
I wish they don't hurry it along and they make it stable.
Yep.
That's what matters, I think.
I agree, and I think that's why Fedora is so good, because they're a test bed. I mean, they don't have that same kind of restriction on themselves. If it's new, if it's ready, if it's stable, they'll release it, and you can go and turn it off if it doesn't work for you. So they kind of take the reverse outlook on it.
And you can participate in their kernel test weeks as well. Fedora has a test week for the kernel.
Yep, and that's good stuff. I really enjoy the fact that they're so open about that.
Yes, same.
I do like Fedora though, but Pop! OS is probably the best GNOME implementation that I've ever run.
Fedora also gets the latest GNOME first.
Right, but it seems to me that GNOME runs slower, choppier in Fedora than it does in Pop! OS. Pop! OS has that's why I think it has one of the best implementations.
I would like to disagree on the Fedora being slow thing. I used it for like 2-3 months and it was okay, not much lag.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, it's not slow, it's the animations. So when you minimize something or when you do the full screen activities and everything moves around, that'll be a little choppy. But I mean, everything else is fine if you can get past the fact that sometimes the animations are just a little, choppy or whatever.
And a heads up, sometimes Fedora components crash.
Yeah, I haven't run into a lot of that. Fedora's been very stable for me, but I think a lot of that's just because I'm on a ThinkPad and everything is supported all the time. Red Hat gives their employees ThinkPads, so they upstream all the fixes for the ThinkPads directly to the mainline kernel.
Oh, I use a AMD implementation. I use the AMD system, so maybe that's why.
No, I've ran Fedora on my desktop, which is all AMD CPU, AMD GPU, discrete GPU, and it runs fine. Everything runs fine.
I'm on a newer Ryzen 5, which released this year, 5th gen.
I haven't run the Ryzen 5 on Fedora yet. This was a 1700, so the first gen Ryzen is what I was using Fedora on. But I'll give it a try. I'll see if it's any good on the I have a 5800X in my desktop, so I'll give it a shot.
Okay, I think maybe it's new release. That's why they are having trouble optimizing it for Ryzen 5th gen.
Well, the kernel supports it now, and Fedora should probably be on 5.13, if not 5.14 by now. I would imagine.
It's with the update, actually, not after install.
Oh, right. True. You'd have to upgrade to it.
ISO is with 5.11.
Ah. Yeah, look, can you see him? Here he is. There is
Oh wow, is that a lab?
Yeah, Great Dane.
Oh, nice.
Very large boy.
Oh, so you were bending to speak to him before, like you were muting yourself.
Well, yeah, he's got a thing in his ear and he's been scratching it, so I'm telling him to stop.
How old is he?
He's almost 2 years old.
Nice.
He's expensive. I would not get another Great Dane ever again.
You should get a German Shepherd.
I have a mini shepherd. He's about 35 pounds, and he's fantastic. I love. He never gets sick, ever. There's nothing ever wrong with that dog. But he's a mutt. You know, we got him from a rescue. He's a rescue. So someone just found him on the street.
This reminds me of a Linux distribution called Puppy.
Yeah, yeah. That's the deal.
Yeah, my next dog is going to be named Garuda.
Yeah. You like Garuda that much, huh?
Well, nobody will get it. I can't exactly name the dog Linux Mint.
Yeah, you could name him Mint or Spearmint or something like that, right?
Cinnamon.
Wait.
I'll name the dog Cinnamon.
Isn't Garuda supposed to use more RAM?
Maybe. I have no idea.
And Garuda just sounds like a cool name for a dog. It's almost kaiju.
Oh, Indian God, yes. I forgot to tell you. It's a Indian, somebody developed it, and he's from India.
Wow, that's cool. So let me see. Garuda
Linux.
Yeah. I don't know.
And it's
they're just a custom version of Arch, aren't they? Right?
Yeah, but it takes up lots of RAM. Like free RAM is wasted RAM according to them.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm glad it takes a lot of RAM. Use it all. I've got 16 gigs. Use all of it. That's fine. Make everything fast all of the time. Even if you have to prefetch everything in the operating system, dump it all into RAM. Because you're right. Free RAM is wasted RAM. What are you using it for? Nothing.
So, but for those people with 4 gigs and 8 gigs.
Right, but I think you could still do the same thing. You know, people have this misconception about RAM that if you're using all of your RAM, it's a bad thing. It's not. Your operating system is using all of your RAM to make everything
all
as
of your
fast as it
RAM and
possibly
all of your
can.
page space. That's a bad thing.
Right. Once you're paging because you're requiring more than 4 RAM to get what you're doing done, now you're in trouble. But I mean, use all of it. Use all of the RAM all of the time. It scares too many people and it shouldn't.
It scares me with 8 gigs of RAM.
I think 8's the sweet spot right now. Unless you're running the newest, greatest games, you really don't need more than 8 gigs of RAM.
Oh, just a heads up. On Ghost Recon Breakpoint, my RAM usage is above 4 gigabytes of available.
Yeah. See, so games like that, right? Like some of the newest.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about GPU.
Games.
Oh, your GPU RAM usage.
Oh, yeah, but yes. and that's in the same boat where use all of the GPU RAM. Do not let any of it go to waste.
Yeah, but that restricts my quality settings to medium.
Well, I mean, but that's just, I guess, the video card that you're using just can't handle the game at its maximum setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm already running into that too with my video card as well, and it's got 8 gigs of RAM, so it's all right. I can't afford the latest stuff all the time, so I'll turn it down a little bit. It's no big deal.
First, I was thinking of getting a 2060 laptop, but it would cost me 20,000 extra.
Wow. Yeah, I don't need that. I'm good.
I mean in Indian rupees. I don't know how much that's in dollars over there.
However much it is, it's too much.
$268 extra dollars.
Yes.
And so how much is the laptop total?
Right now, 55,000.
That's not terrible, but yeah. An extra $200 that on $700, that's a lot of money.
For a last gen GPU.
Yeah. Yeah, even for me that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Oh, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I probably wouldn't do it either.
Is that new or used?
New. latest Ryzen 5 5th gen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like portable gaming myself, so I would spend the money on an upgraded graphics card or a better CPU in my desktop or something like that. But
honestly,
if you don't have the room for it,
decent graphics right now is cheaper on a laptop than it is on a desktop.
That is true. Yeah, you can't get the newest graphics cards right now. It's just not a thing. But slowly but surely, I think I'm seeing a lot of shops overseas that just have too much stock. So
Hopefully
I
prices
imagine
drop.
over there, yeah. Well, they never had the shortage like we did.
Well, I do most of my gaming on on my laptop.
Oh
with
yeah.
With the what is it? The GTX 9. Is it a 960 or 980? I can't remember.
Hmm.
I think it's a 980. So, but I call it a laptop, but it's really a desktop replacement. Because
Well,
that
yeah,
MSI is
I mean,
not going
that thick,
far.
you know.
That 17-inch screen with the 3 hard drives, it's not going far.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the bigger screens. I like having a full keyboard and mouse and all that kind of stuff. So I spend my money on a desktop instead of on a laptop, and I'll find, a cheap laptop, and
But
I'll
look,
use that when I need to move around, but I won't play games on it.
I got the laptop specifically for, being able to play games, but I also got it because I could take it when I go traveling and still be able to work.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want a Steam Deck, because it's got a dock and you can dock it and plug it up to a keyboard, mouse, and a monitor, and it's just a whole computer. And then when you want, you can undock it and just play video games on it and let it be portable and all that. That is something I will do. A handheld portable gaming device?
That you
Yes.
can turn into a freaking PC. And that is
Yeah.
awesome. And I would love one. But, I've got enough stuff.
Well, let me tell you this. When I get my hands on one, it'll probably replace this machine that I'm using right here. This machine will get, and I won't say demoted because it's not a demotion, but like this PC now will end up just running my VMs and all of that stuff. And then I'll use the Steam Deck to record everything on. And the fact that it has a secondary screen, I can put Audacity down there so I can monitor it and have all the things that I'm actively doing on my main screen.
I don't know if you saw that second email from SunFun, the person that was talking about sending us the Pine phone.
Yeah, I think I'm going to email him too because he never responded.
I don't think he's getting my emails. I responded twice, and it seemed like he didn't get the first one, and no response on the second one. He's assuming that we're ignoring him.
Right. So I'll email him too, and I'll email him from my Gmail address as well, just in case.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to his spam folder or not.
I think we are.
Because
we are.
Yeah, I'd love to use that Pine phone.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the plans for the weekend then?
I'm gonna go outside and do some cooking, and then after that, probably play some video games, have a couple of whiskey sours, and go to bed.
Hang out with my kids, play some video games.
A little bit of that too.
Maybe I'll hang out with the wife, but
yeah, try to not do much of anything outside of eat and play some video games and sleep.
Oh yeah, I gotta do some cooking.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
It's already Sunday over here, 1:47 a.m.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
I'll wake up, eat, sleep, and do some coding as usual.
Well, there you go. All right.
Eat, sleep, drink, code. What else do you need?
That you need that on a t-shirt now,
existence.
I think.
I mean, the community which I came across in the last 2 months, it's just amazing. Very helpful.
Yeah, that's the best thing about open source in general is that everybody's usually pretty open and honest and helpful.
Dude,
but most of the developers who I know in that community, they use Windows, unfortunately.
I mean, it's okay if you're whatever you're developing on, use whatever is easy. If that's Linux, that's great. If it's Windows, that's cool too.
10, 15 years ago, it really was not a welcoming place for newbies.
Yeah.
In the open source area, because the issue was this very RTFM attitude that all of anybody that had any experience would give out. And thankfully that has kind of gone away. Because, I guess people took a minute to actually look at the man pages that they were recommending and seeing how freaking unreadable they were.
No, the people that were saying RTFM were the people that wrote the man pages. So they thought it was fantastic and it was the best thing ever.
Coming to RTFM, Arch Linux has taught me to go through the manuals and the Arch Wiki.
But the Arch Wiki is so different than man pages are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's explanation there. It tells you why you want to do these things, and that just didn't exist, 15 years ago.
And actual examples. That's the
Yes.
important one, the actual examples.
One good thing about Arch Wiki is that it is applicable to other distributions as well.
Yep, exactly. So I find myself going to the Arch Wiki all the time to fix problems on Mint if I have them. I think I found there was an issue with my my audio interface. It would pitch down because of the Pulse Audio's the refresh rate essentially. I found out how to fix that issue in the Arch Wiki, and now I have a great time with pretty much everything I use this device with.
Yeah, that was a problem for you for a couple of months.
Yeah, what? No, it was a bit longer than that. I think I had just I forgot what I did in the interim to make it work.
You had a temporary workaround where you had to drop off or something and then turn it back, or set it manually and then turn it back on. And if it took, you were good. If it didn't, you had to restart and try it again or something.
Yep, it was terrible. But now I know how to fix it thanks to the Arch Wiki, and it's not a problem anymore as long as I remember to fix it on a new install if I do that. Which reminds me, I'm going to do a new install of Linux Mint so I could install on ButterFS instead of ext4.
ButterFS is good.
It seems to me to be one of the best, and it looks like it's a little faster on an SSD than it is on ext4. So
I can vouch for that because I use Fedora exclusively on BTRFS.
Well, good. That makes me feel good. Because if I break it, I'll need to fix it before the next show.
Just be careful out there. Sometimes it just breaks without you knowing.
ButterFS?
Sometimes, if you make any small mistake.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not gonna manually set any of it up. I'm gonna let Linux Mint and the installer handle it, and I'm just gonna use Timeshift. So that's the beautiful thing about going to ButterFS and then using Timeshift is it's easy to roll back using snapshots if you break something.
Okay, and one more query before we go. How much do you allot to a VM?
As much as I can. Yeah. What are you doing with it?
I want to run Linux on it.
Okay, what are you going to do in Linux on that VM?
Coding, compiling, maybe.
If you have, you said you had 8 gigs of RAM?
Yes.
I would give it at least 4. And then I would watch Task Manager to see. Yeah, I'd watch Task Manager to see how much memory is actually being used, because what you don't want to do is, if Windows is already using 4 gigs of RAM, giving 4 gigs to Linux is not going to be a good time. So you might want to bring it down to 3. Well, actually, if you're on Windows now, open up Task Manager and see how much memory you're using.
Just give me 1 minute.
Sure.
Don't you hate it? You get a perfect solder join, and then you realize you forgot to put the sleeve on.
Whoops. How much did you say?
6 gigabytes out of 7.
Oh, it's using 6?
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 gig.
Well, I guess it depends on what you're running. If you close everything down and then launch your Linux VM, then yeah, I wouldn't say go more than 4.
So I have Visual Studio running, Firefox running, Discord running, Git running, Python.
Yeah, that makes sense. 6 is about right. So if you turn that stuff off, well, I guess if you're going to be doing coding in Linux, then you won't need Visual Studio or any of that stuff. So that'll free up some RAM. Yeah, I'd say start with 4 and see how it performs. If Windows seems slow, then you might want to back it off to 3 and maybe even 2. But I mean, you're kind of getting.
But I'm due a RAM upgrade as well. Another 8 gigs of RAM.
Oh well, if you once you get to 16, I'd say give Linux 8 and let Windows have 8, and that'll be great.
But then after that, even 1 TB of SSD. So I will like partition it.
That would be good. The more you can give it, the better. And then
you won't be
CPU wise,
VMing, you'll be dual booting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, my brother has a 1 TB SSD. He has like 800 GB for Linux and 200 GB for Windows.
Yeah, that's how I would do it too. Windows doesn't need much. I'll get what I need to get done in Windows, which is usually games, and then everything else goes to Linux. But what your CPU? What are you running now?
Ryzen 5500U.
Oh, that's the 4-core, right?
Hexa.
Oh, it's 6, really?
But it's based on previous 4500U, I think.
Wow, at 25 watts? I need one. That's fantastic. Yeah, it is. So I would give Linux 3 cores, and then if Windows seems to perform okay, then I would give Linux 4 cores.
I don't think Windows can perform well on a dual core.
Well, I mean, if you're doing most of what you're doing in Linux in a VM, then you won't need much. Windows will just be idling essentially in the background, and all the CPU will go to Linux. So just try it. Try 4 on Linux, and see if see how well it performs. I mean, because the worst thing that will happen is you'll just have to turn off your VM, and then everything will run fine again, and then you can adjust at that point.
Oh, one thing I noticed is that it lags around a bit in Fedora.
That's probably GNOME. And well, actually, what hypervisor are you using? VirtualBox or boxes?
On Windows, I am using VMware 16.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh, on GNOME, I prefer boxes though.
Right.
Much better than.
Well, if you're on Windows, try Hyper-V.
Hyper-V is Windows only.
Well, if you're running a VM in Windows, then no, they support Linux.
Oh, I didn't know about that because they trained me in my support job that it runs only Windows server and all that stuff.
Right here.
Oh, amazing. I'll try that.
Yeah, and yeah, just give it a shot. It's very good now. A couple of years ago, yeah, Hyper-V didn't really support Linux. It was a second-class citizen. You had to do all kinds of fixes and things just to get it to run in the first place, especially if you were trying to install. You couldn't install it on Gen 2 Hyper-V VMs, but now you can. It's pretty much all integrated as long as you go with Debian, Ubuntu, or the Red Hat derivatives. It'll run. Yep. Fedora included. So Fedora, CentOS, Red Hat, Alma, Rocky, all those, they'll run fine in Hyper-V.
Okay, let me have a look and report back next week.
Yeah. Let me know. I'm actually kind of curious to see how that works. But I think I'm gonna go get me something to eat. I'm starving at this point.
Oh, okay, sure. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it was good talking to you.
Yep, for sure.
Same.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Anybody still listening or hanging out there, thanks for coming in. Have a good one.
Okay, see you.
Did we pick a topic?
No. We should probably pick one. Hey, if y'all are still on the live stream, send us a topic either in email, Telegram, or Discord, and we'll see if we can't make that the topic for the next show. See you later.
No, Leo, you don't get to eat until we pick a topic.
I will eat right now, and then I'll pick a topic. How about that?
Okay, I'm good with that.
We can discuss it on Discord if you want.
Yes, please. Any suggestions you have, please let us know. We'll make it work.
We need help.
Okay, have a nice weekend, guys.
You too.